Virtual summits are the most powerful online marketing tool available to grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and create an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. If you are ready to take your summit to the next level, then tune into the Virtual Summit Podcast with Dr. Mark T. Wade.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software and creator of the One Day Summit Formula. And I'm on a mission to help you, the summit host, get your summit out to the world in a powerful and impactful way. So let's get started. If you have thin skin, turn back now because I'm peeling back some common summit myths, and we're going to break these old belief patterns today on the Virtual Summit Podcast. Hey, Summit host, Dr. Mark T. Wade here, founder of Virtual Summit Software, creator of the One Day Summit, and your host on Virtual Summit Podcast. I'm super excited to be here today talking to you about 7 summit myths that you probably believe. Now, before we jump into that, I just want to remind you all the links to everything we talk about today will be at the show notes over at podcast.virtualsummits.com/048. So head over there to get all those goodies. Also, don't forget to check out the resources area over at the Virtual Summit Software. You can go there at virtualsummits.com. We've got all kinds of goodies, free resources, things to get started with the One Day Summit. We've got our Summitology Foundations on Demand training and all kinds of amazing things for you waiting over there. So you can check that out. Now, today, I want to talk some tough love and open some summit doors that many summit hosts leave closed. I'm going to call these summit myths. These are ideas, thoughts, or beliefs that many summit hosts get in their head and can end up causing them critical summit damage. They don't get it straightened out. So let's get started. The first summit myth I want to discuss is the most important one, in my opinion, because it's the most popularly believed myth. Matter of fact, I'm going to guess most of you listening right now actually believe this first myth. So this summit myth is that having influencers on your summit relates somehow to the success of your summit. Now, this myth holds several beliefs inside of it. So let's start with the biggest. The belief that you must have big names on your summit for it to be successful. The second belief closely related is that the more big names you have, the more successful your summit will be. Now, this is altogether almost 100% false. It's not about the names on your summit. Yes, of course, it is nice and looks good when you have some celebrities speaking on your summit, but I promise you that it's not going to make your summit more successful. And if you didn't have them on there, it's not going to make your summit less successful. The actual aspect that matters most when it comes to your summit speakers is their audience size, and they promote the summit via email. Like, make sure you hear that. Make sure you heard that correctly, because I know some of you are going, well, duh, Mark, the bigger the speaker name or influence, the bigger their audience. Maybe, but the second part is what matters most. If you get Tony Robbins to speak on your summit, that's awesome. Huge audience, obviously. But he doesn't promote the summit. If he doesn't promote the summit, it doesn't matter. And having him on there will not directly relate to the success of your summit. I'd rather have 5 experts with medium-sized audiences who are going to email for the summit than one big name that isn't. So when it comes to speakers, don't lose sleep over trying to get the biggest names, which brings me to the second belief in that same myth. Don't fill your summit full of all big names, anchors, or influencers because they're not going to promote it. Then you have this star-studded summit that no one attends because no one promoted it, and you think that the summit model just doesn't work anymore. No, it's not it at all. It's because no one promoted it.
Virtual Summits software makes hosting a summit easier than ever. The only software in the world designed specifically for hosting a summit lets you set up a summit in a matter of hours with no tech skill or team needed. You can try out the Virtual Summits software free at virtualsummits.com. But hurry, this is a limited offer.
Of course, you have the ability, if you have the ability to get those big influencers and can get them to promote, more power to you. But in most cases, they're not going to do it. So spend your time finding quality experts with a good audience that are willing to invest in the collaborative marketing strategy of a summit and promote it along with everyone else. That's how you fill your summit. Okay, myth number 2, which is the kid sister, more or less, to summit myth number 1. Social media will fill my summit. Meaning, you don't need your speakers to promote because you'll fill the summit with paid advertising. Or even, it doesn't matter if they're going to email it because they said they'll promote it on social. Now, using a little paid advertising for the summit is okay, but I would not go too heavy on this. Virtual summits are so powerful because they can build an engaged audience almost for free. That's the collaborative marketing strategy. This is where your speakers promoting comes in. However, I've heard people say, I maxed out my credit cards promoting the summit, and now I have all this debt, and my summit wasn't successful. Then I ask, so how many of your speakers promoted, and how many promoted hard? The response is usually, well, I didn't quite require any of them to promote because I was using social media to fill the summit. And how did that work out for you? Not great. Okay, social media is great for social proof, retargeting, even using a pre-launch promotional strategy, which we use and we recommend, and for pushing sales conversions. It's not nearly as effective for getting the opt-in as an email from your speaker to their audience. So when planning out your summit, understand that if you decide to not make your speakers promote, then of course they're not going to promote. They have other things they could be sending to their audience. And if that is the case, then your summit is going to be hearing crickets. So understand that summit myth, if you can fill your summit with just paid, the summit myth that you can fill your summit with just using paid ads is not true. And it's also not financially feasible to do this as well. Summit myth number 3 is that using a sexy name or title for your summit is important to the success of your summit. So this is an easy one to squash here. A confused mind says no. And most of the time when you're trying to get fancy or overly creative with your title or name, you end up confusing your audience. They don't know what it is the summit is actually about, and so they just assume it's not for them. I would take a boring, straightforward, and clear title over a generic, general, sexy one any day. Of course, it's okay to be creative, but for example, I got a call from a very well-known social media influencer who was in the process of putting together a summit, and she says, Mark, I'm having trouble with my messaging. I'm doing this cool project that essentially involves the attendees buying these virtual chickens, and each chicken essentially creates someone a business, and I want to sell a bunch of chickens, but I'm not sure how I should title or message it. I said, look, the concept I think sounds cool, and I know you're a super creative person and extremely successful, but in all honesty, I'm confused. And if I'm confused, your audience is confused, and they're going to say no and keep scrolling. So I asked her, what's the problem your audience has? She said, well, they want to build a business. I said, no, that's a solution. What's the problem? Her eyes lit up and she said, oh, they don't know how to build a business and they don't have the tools to do it. Bingo. That changed everything. Now you can add that extra flair and the theme and all the fun to the summit later, but when coming up with your name, the title, the promise, and the main point, you have to be clear and use your audience's words. Okay, summit number 4. The summit is the end. This is probably the most painful mistake I see most summit hosts make. They get so wrapped up in their summit that they see it as the end to all their problems. Like they're going to host this summit and all of a sudden they have everything they need and they can take a break for 5 years and not ever work again. Your summit is the beginning, not the end. It's the starting point. If you don't plan or have anything prepared past the summit, you're setting yourself up for failure. A virtual summit is a relationship-building, problem-solving, audience-building marketing strategy. You now have an audience. You need to do something with them. Your work is just beginning. So don't ever think that you can just throw in the towel and relax for a few months after your summit. You need to be ready to roll up your sleeves and get in there with your audience and continue to serve them in order to build your success.
Be sure to check out the speaker management tool inside your Virtual Summit software, which lets you quickly and easily recruit and manage your speakers on your virtual summit, literally eliminating hundreds of hours of work. Get more information at virtualsummits.com.
Now, the summit is the beginning of your customer journey, not the end. Okay, summit myth number 5. It's like when you know if you eat a bunch of donuts every day that you're eventually going to get fat. Well, this myth everyone knows isn't true, but still for some reason that donut is just too good to pass up. This myth is that you can throw together a summit super fast and it will be successful. Yeah, right. It sounds silly even to say it out loud, but I can't tell you how many sob stories I get through emails and messages from summit hosts saying, "Summits don't work, Mark," or "I don't know what happened. Why wasn't my summit successful?" I do a little digging and find out they decided to run the summit 4 weeks ago and literally threw it together without giving it the respect, the time, and the energy it needed to be successful. And this one really irks me too. I mean, mainly because it's these summit hosts, which usually then go out and tell everyone that summits don't work. No, summits work fine. You ran a crappy summit. So let's squash this myth once and for all. The level of the success of your summit is related to the effort and time you put into your summit. Now, I know, there are tons of summit coaches out there telling you that you can host a summit in 90 days and be successful. But it doesn't mean they're right. In all fairness, yes, they could probably do a summit in 90 days and be successful. I mean, we do summits in under 90 days as well. And I'm in full transparency, I'm talking about a multi-day summit. We do know we can do one-day summits in 30 to 60 days and be successful. But with them, they can do a summit in 90 days and be successful because they've run 4 of them already. They have a thorough knowledge of how to do it and pretty much have everything already created and templated. They just need to do the interviews, and they have a team of people helping them. However, if this is your first summit and you're running it on your own, give yourself more time. Invest energy, creativity, and effort into your summit, and you'll be rewarded. If you try to throw it together like an afterthought, you'll be sitting there holding a donut in your hand, wondering why your pants don't fit anymore. Okay, summit myth number 6. That being super over the top with all the technical aspects and gadgets is important for the success of your summit. I get it. You've been told that you need to double blind slit test every heat map based off a 27-digit IP address through a triple stacked analytical tracking numerical chart. More is not always better, especially here. Don't overcomplicate your summit. There are plenty of other ways to spend your time improving the quality of your summit versus trying to ensure that you have a heat map and split testing everything. Like, how about you try improving your interviews? Huh? How's the quality of your interviews? Have you spent any time improving your interview skills or talents? That's where I would start. Now, for your Ever Summit protocol, of course, you have more time. You can do more split tests and try new things. It makes sense. But for your very first summit that's going live in 3 weeks, you're better off spending your time ensuring your summit storyboard and summit story arc as fine-tuned as possible. I would always recommend spend more time on your summit scripts than worrying about extra fancy plugins and gadgets and other crazy things that all these big gurus are telling you need in order to be successful. Keep it simple and make sure you are focused 90% of your energy on the summit components that we covered in episode 45 of the Virtual Summit podcast. Number 1, your messaging. Number 2, your registration page. Number 3, your summit scripts. Number 4, your summit story arc, which is your interviews. Number 5, your summit storyboard template, which is the order of your interviews. Number 6, your summit offer. Number 7, your post-summit profit strategy. And number 8, your Ever Summit strategy. These are what you need to focus on. Spend your time ensuring these are as high quality and aligned as possible, and you'll be a success.
With the Ever Summit feature inside the Virtual Summit software, you can rerun your summit as if it were live, ongoing forever with one click of a button. This now lets you continue to use your summit forever, bringing in qualified and engaged leads every month into your business. Get more information at virtualsummit.com.
Now you can leave out that 17 extra plugins and other fancy recommendations from the gurus. You got my permission. The final summit myth we're going to cover is myth number 7. Blaming your summit success or lack thereof success on technical issues. I can tell you with pure confidence that technical aspects can be a nightmare. Yes, I get it. That's the whole reason we invented the Virtual Summit software. So we no longer have to deal with those issues. And of course, recommend using this for your virtual summit. However, regardless whether you build it yourself or use Virtual Summit software, the outcome is not based on the technicality of this. If your summit didn't generate many leads, it was an issue far before the tech came into play. Looking back at the list from the last myth, there are 5 components that matter before your audience purchases your summit offer ever becomes an issue. And if you didn't generate many summit leads, that was most likely your messaging or your registration page, not the technical aspect of your summit. Time to take a step back, take a little responsibility, and realize that you probably missed the mark on your messaging or your speakers didn't promote. Now, this is not to say you want to have technical issues, but I promise you having one link break is not going to cost you the success of your summit. It will cost you several extra hours of customer service work and responding to emails, but it's not going to cost you the success of your summit. And again, you can avoid all of that just by using the Virtual Summit software. It works every time. It's that simple. Now, we could go on for hours with all the different items or excuses I've heard over the years, but honestly, these are the 7 most common myths, wrong beliefs, or mistakes that I hear and see on a regular basis. Now, I know that you listening into this are not even going to be one of those summit hosts that make these mistakes because you are a proactive rock star, making sure your message gets out to the world. But maybe you could do me a favor. Next time you hear a summit host complaining about some issue, just recommend they listen to this information. Put it out there in this episode. That would make me so happy. Okay, let's wrap this up with a quick restatement of the 7 myths. 1, influencers, speakers matter to build your summit. 2, social media will fill your summit. 3, trendy, sexy names are the best for your summit. 4, the summit is the end or be all. 5, you can throw together a summit in a very short amount of time and still be successful. 6, summits need to be super fancy and have all these special analytical gadgets and gadgets to be successful. 7, if my summit didn't do well, it's because of a technical problem. And that will do it for us on today's episode. I highly recommend if you dive deeper into any of these areas, that you dive deeper into these areas, and if it was a little unfamiliar to you, that you go deeper, because we just kind of covered them a little bit. We have lots of free resources over at virtualsummits.com in our resource area, like our Summitology Foundations program. We got the One-Day Summit Starter Guide. We got all kinds of things over there. Even, our speakers, Summit speaker sheet, our interview programs, all of that. Plus, many of these items I've gone in depth on are on other episodes on the Virtual Summit podcast. So no matter what focus on those 8 summit components, for example, you will definitely have a successful virtual summit. Be sure to check out the show notes over at podcast.virtualsummits.com/048 to get links to these different items and resources. And until next time, remember, your message matters and the world needs to hear it. There's no better way to get that message out to the world than a virtual summit. Now go out and make an impact.
Thanks for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on the Virtual Summit podcast. Head over to the show notes to check out all the links and resources from this episode, and be sure to grab your free trial of the Virtual Summit software.
Now, I want to end this episode by saying to all the summit hosts listening right now, I believe in you, and you can do this. Summits are by far one of the most powerful ways to quickly grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and most importantly, make an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis, because the world needs to hear your message, and there are people who are waiting for you to help them. So just get started, because imperfect action is always better than no action. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.